The jazz age was in full swing, and I was its willing captive. The nights were long, the spirits were high, and the music was the heartbeat of our rebellion. I was Clara, the girl with the kohl-rimmed eyes and a taste for the forbidden. The Speakeasy's door was just another threshold to cross, another rule to break. But that night, as the saxophone wailed and the flappers danced, I stumbled upon a secret that was not meant for the likes of me. Hidden behind a bookshelf, a portal to another time beckoned. And there he was, a gentleman out of time, with eyes that knew too much and a smile that promised adventure. His name was Ethan, and he was from the future. Or at least, that's what he told me. He spoke of a world where women were equal, where jazz was the soundtrack to every moment. I didn't believe him, not at first. But as we danced, his fingers intertwined with mine, the words seemed to echo through the entire speakeasy. The world around us faded, replaced by the sound of our hearts beating in tandem. It was as if the music and the movement had conspired to transport us to a place where time did not exist. And when he leaned in, his lips brushing against mine, I knew that I would never be the same again. Our love was as impossible as it was inevitable, a collision of two worlds that refused to be kept apart. We met in secret, hiding from the prying eyes of a society that would never understand. But no matter where we were, or when, it seemed that the music always found us. It was as if the universe itself was conspiring to bring us together, to weave our destinies into a tapestry of passion and possibility. We danced through time, Ethan and I, our steps echoing through the halls of history. We sipped champagne in the roaring 20s, we whispered secrets in the shadow of the Eiffel Tower, we made love under the stars as the world turned around us. And with each new adventure, I found myself falling deeper in love with him, with the man who had shown me that love could conquer all. But as with all great stories, there were challenges to face. The future that Ethan had shown me was not without its troubles, and sometimes the weight of it all threatened to pull us apart. The world outside our little bubble of happiness was cruel and unforgiving, and it seemed that fate had it out for us. But for as long as we had each other, for as long as we could find a way to navigate the twists and turns of time, nothing else mattered. And so we danced on, Ethan and I, our love as enduring as the beat of the drum, as bright as the light of the stars. We would face whatever came our way, together, and we would find a way to make it work. Because in the end, love is the one thing that truly transcends time. There were times when I would close my eyes and wish that we could somehow find a way to make it all work, to find a place where we could exist without fear of being found out, without the weight of the world on our shoulders. But I knew that our love was too strong, too powerful, to be contained by mere mortal boundaries. And then one day, as we danced to the strains of a new tune, a new melody that seemed to echo through the very core of my being, Ethan pulled me close, his hands cupping my face, his eyes searching mine. He whispered something that sent a shiver down my spine, a secret that would change everything. "Clara," he said, his voice barely above a whisper, "I have a plan." My heart skipped a beat as I waited for him to continue. He had always been the mastermind, the one who could think several steps ahead, who could see possibilities where others only saw obstacles. And so I leaned in, my breath hitching in my throat, hope swelling in my chest as I waited for him to reveal his plan, to tell me how we could finally be together, truly and forever. But he didn't speak, and in that moment I knew that the only thing I truly needed was his touch, his words, his presence. And so I kissed him, softly at first, and then with all the passion that had built up inside me over the years we'd spent dancing through time, searching for a place where we could be free. And as our lips met, I felt a surge of hope, of determination, of love so strong that it threatened to overwhelm me. When we finally pulled apart, our foreheads pressed together, his eyes shining with a light that I had never seen before, I knew that no matter what the future held, no matter what challenges lay ahead, we would face them together. Because in the end, our love was all that mattered. "It's risky," he whispered, his voice barely audible against my skin. "But I think it just might work." I nodded, my heart racing with anticipation and hope. I wanted to ask him what his plan was, but I didn't want to ruin the moment. I trusted Ethan, and I knew that whatever he had cooked up, it would be something brilliant. We danced on, lost in our own world, our bodies moving in perfect harmony, as if we had been practicing this routine for lifetimes. The music swelled around us, filling the air with a sense of urgency, of possibility. And as we spun and twirled, I felt a weight lift from my shoulders, a sense of freedom that I hadn't known existed. It was then that I realized that our love, our connection, was the most powerful force in the universe. It could transcend time and space, defy logic and reason. It was a force to be reckoned with, and I knew that together, we could conquer anything. Finally, the music came to an end, and we were left standing there in the center of the floor, our hearts pounding, our breath coming in ragged gasps. Ethan leaned in close, his lips brushing against my ear as he whispered, "Trust me, Clara. It's going to be okay." And in that moment I did. I trusted him completely, with every fiber of my being. Because with Ethan by my side, how could anything ever go wrong? We danced on, our steps growing more confident, more assured, as if we knew that whatever lay ahead, we could face it together. The music swirled around us, a symphony of hope and longing, and I felt as if we were the conductors, guiding the orchestra through a masterful performance. As the night wore on, the other dancers faded into the background, their movements growing less graceful, less poised. But Ethan and I, we only seemed to become more focused, more in sync. It was as if the universe itself had aligned itself to allow this one perfect thing to happen, to bring us together. Finally, as the last notes of the final song echoed through the ballroom, we came to a stop, our bodies pressed so close that I could feel the rhythm of his heart against my own. He looked at me then, his eyes shining with a fierce determination, and I knew that whatever his plan was, he had it all figured out. He had always figured it out. "Thank you," he whispered, his lips brushing against my ear. "For trusting me. For believing in us." I smiled up at him, feeling a surge of love and gratitude wash over me. "I'll always trust you, Ethan. I'll always believe in us." And then, before I could say anything else, he pulled me into his arms, his lips finding mine in a tender, passionate kiss. It was a kiss that seemed to last for an eternity, a kiss that promised everything and nothing all at once. When at last he pulled away, he looked into my eyes, and I knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, no matter how much time and distance and circumstance tried to tear us apart, we would find a way to be together. Because our love was bigger than all of that. And so we left the ballroom, hand in hand, ready to face the world together. Because with Ethan by my side, I knew that anything was possible. As we walked through the grand hallways, the sounds of the orchestra fading into the distance, I felt a new sense of purpose, a newfound determination. We exited the manor and stepped out into the cool night air, the stars twinkling above us like diamonds on a midnight velvet cloth. Ethan led me to a secluded bench nestled amongst the garden, its soft grass tickling my bare feet. He sat down beside me, his arm wrapping around my shoulders, pulling me close. "Clara," he began, his voice serious but gentle, "I need you to trust me one last time. I have a plan, a way for us to be together, but it's going to take some time. We need to be patient, and we need to stay strong." I looked up at him, my heart swelling with love and admiration for this man who had become my entire world. "I trust you, Ethan. I'll be patient. I'll be strong. I'll wait for you, no matter how long it takes." He leaned in then, his lips brushing against mine, a tender, fleeting kiss. "Because you know," he whispered, "no matter what happens, we'll always find our way back to each other." And as we sat there in the garden, beneath the starry sky, I felt a sense of peace wash over me, a certainty that no matter how dark the days might be, how long the nights, we would always find our way home to each other. Because our love was not just a thing, but a force that could not be contained, a force that would not be denied. Together, we sat in the garden, watching the world spin on, biding our time, waiting for fate to bring us back together. And as the days turned into weeks, the weeks into months, and the months into years, we never once wavered in our faith, in our certainty that one day soon, we would be reunited. We wrote letters, hundreds of them, pouring our hearts out on the pages, sharing our deepest thoughts, our darkest fears, our most intimate desires. We read them, whispering the words in the quiet of the night, feeling as if the other were there with us, holding our hand, wiping away our tears. We made plans, grand plans for the future, plans filled with laughter and love, adventure and discovery. We talked of traveling the world, of seeing all the wonders it had to offer, of creating a life together that was as beautiful and as magical as our love. And though the years passed, and we grew older, and life threw its share of obstacles in our path, our love remained constant, unyielding, a beacon of hope that guided us through the darkness. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, the day came when we were reunited. It was a day filled with joy and tears, with laughter and embraces, with promises and vows. And as we stood before a priest, our hands clasped tightly together, we knew that no matter what challenges might come our way, we would face them together. Because our love, our connection, was not just a thing, but a force that could not be contained, a force that would not be denied. And so they were married, and they lived happily ever after. Ethan and Clara, their love a testament to the power of the universe, a reminder that sometimes, in the darkest of times, there is a light that shines brighter than all the rest. And if one looks close enough, if one listens closely enough, one can hear it calling to them, guiding them home. They built a life together, filled with laughter and love, adventure and discovery. They traveled the world, collecting stories and memories like souvenirs, always finding their way back to each other, no matter how far apart they might have been. Their home was a sanctuary, a refuge from the chaos of the world, a place where they could be together, just the two of them, surrounded by the things they loved most. But even in their perfect life, they knew that darkness would come. They knew that the universe was not always fair, that fate had a cruel streak, and that sometimes, even the strongest of bonds could be tested. And so they held each other close, knowing that no matter what the future might bring, they would face it together. One day, as they sat in their garden, watching the sun set over the horizon, Clara turned to Ethan and said, "I love you." He smiled, taking her hand in his. "I love you too, my dearest Clara. And no matter what happens, no matter where we are, or who we become, I will always love you." She leaned in then, kissing him softly on the lips, a promise, a vow. And as they sat there, basking in the glow of their love, they knew that they would face whatever came their way, together, as they always had, as they always would. Because their love was not just a thing, but a force that could not be contained, a force that would not be denied. And as long as they had each other, as long as they had their love, they could conquer any obstacle, survive any trial, and emerge stronger on the other side. Together, they would face the darkness, and together, they would find their way home. Because no matter where the universe might lead them, no matter what twists and turns fate might take, their love would always be their North Star, their guiding light, their home. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please subscribe to stay updated with our latest stories, give us a like if you want to see more, and drop a comment below to let us know your thoughts.